I'm recording my life now.
What do you mean?
I'm recording my life.
Like everything you say is being recorded?
I'm like doing like this story podcast thing.
Sweet, because what we're about to talk about is going to put your ass on the record. Glad you're recording yourself. Hi, Stevie Newman. It's about 2:15 on this beautiful February the 18th. No, 17th.
That's
Rosati's.
You're listening to Shawntourage. Whatever brought you here, thank you. And keep listening if you'd like. My name's Sean, and I've decided to create a podcast that is the current story of my life. And as I navigate everyday life and stumble through things like mental health, business, relationships, and other things, you'll meet a lot of my friends. I hope that many of you can relate to my journey. Also, just a heads up, there is some explicit language in this podcast. So before we go down the rabbit hole that is Stevie's new venture, let's go back to earlier in the week. That's the sound of rain pelting against my car window as I'm driving towards the bar to play in our local pool league. The weather's been a bit bipolar. Yesterday was 61 degrees and sunny, today is 32 and pouring rain, tomorrow snow is in the forecast. Welcome to the Midwest, where the only thing more inconsistent is my mood. On top of that, I've been navigating new social relationships, and that's fairly new territory for me as well. In most cases, when I meet people, I'm at that age where I'm fairly indifferent if that connection continues to grow. If it does, it does, and if it doesn't, no hard feelings. I don't necessarily crave it to work. In fact, in a lot of cases, I avoid connecting on that level with people because my table is full already. But every now and then, you meet someone where you do crave the connection because it's different than most others. Sometimes you connect well with others because you have common interests, or maybe you share a common goal. A good example of that for me, for instance, would be me and my friend Stevie, or me and my friend Danny, where I have a lot of common interests with them, and we also share a lot of the same business goals. On the other hand, a connection where you reach each other on like a spiritual vibe type of level is unique, and it doesn't really come along that often. So you tend to do everything you can to hold it steady, but since it's unfamiliar territory, there's a lot of wondering, am I approaching this the right way? Or, things like that come into effect. And if you aren't careful with your mindfulness, you can actually end up severing the connection with rocking the boat too much. It's kind of like saying, hey, don't think about pink elephants. But then you can't stop thinking about the pink elephants, specifically the frosted cookie ones with sprinkles. Anyway, I'm going to keep that pretty vague for right now, and sometime I'll go more in depth on that subject. That's the sound of me entering the bar for pool league. The sound of balls cracking against each other on the pool table is alive. Our opponents have been warming up for half an hour already. Before I even play, though, I need a drink.
What's up, pretty lady? What up? Pool league. I get a shot of Red Stag, and you have Red Stag? Jack Daniels, honey. And, yeah. Get a shot of SoCo for Jacob.
Tonight we're playing against my friend Jacob and his wife Connor. Jacob and I go way back to high school and started playing pool with each other several years ago. We were also roommates for a little over a year before we met Connor. My partner is Eric. He and his wife Sherry own this bar called the Main Street Pub. They would also have seats at my table. If you listen to the first episode where I explain the concept of the table, trademarked by Lakin, it'll make sense.
Where's my partner? Did he forget today's league? My partner, Eric? Do you know where he is? Does he remember it's league night?
Yeah, he said something about playing.
Sherry's bartending tonight. Eric is running late. This is the regular theme of every other night. I sit and wait for Eric to arrive while doing my shot of whiskey with Jacob as we discuss the evening plans. Pool League is one of my favorite pastimes, and while I'm very competitive with pool, I take Pool League very casually. It's my time to drink and catch up with friends. I really don't sweat winning or losing in Pool League.
You gotta work tonight? No. Cheers. I'm gonna come back out later. Take her home.
That night, we ended up winning with a subtotal score of 93 to 74. But after the handicap was taken into consideration, we had to give them weight, so the score ended up being 93 to 86 for the overall total. Still victorious for the evening, though. More of our friends came in, and we did more shots. It was a great night.
This one's mine. Hey, did you
Mine's
get
Jack.
one Jack? Which one's the Jack?
Smell it. That looks like mine.
Well, one of them's honey too, because that's what I do.
Smell the honey.
This one's honey.
Smell the apple. Jack is very distinct.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes. All right. Screw Danny. Screw Danny.
Again.
Again.
Little
She's
bastard.
gonna sip on it anyway. I know, right? Thank you.
The night would end. I would have a light hangover the next day, and this is when Stevie calls me and wants to meet up to go over his next big venture. For context, Stevie and I both constantly pursue new ideas, and when we see them starting to spiral out of control, we tend to bail, which makes us a big flight risk. And that's part of why we're such close friends, though. We both have good ideas, limited resources, and we're just waiting for our first big hit to finally put us on the map. It's a grind, though.
I did the numbers. I'm losing a lot of money, so I'm gonna get back into the full time. Well, I'm gonna keep power washing with Jim. We already talked about power washing and painting outsides. I gotta be done with the miscellaneous like bullshit. So let's test your marketing. Okay. We go in.
You're good, Sean.
Thank you.
For every marketing you do, job landed, 10%, $25 a job. If I go or not go.
What do you mean marketing?
Like, I want to fucking rape Evans. I think Evansville's the town because it has 118,000 people.
When you say marketing, do you mean like
I want jobs out of the Lulu down there.
like food prep?
No, power
Like
washing.
power wash.
Yeah, power washing.
Okay.
So I got my new setup coming.
Okay.
Murray in Clarksville, Tennessee, fucking washing the race cars next month. But there's so much money into
So
it.
what he means by marketing is he needs someone to essentially brand his company, his new business. He needs someone to help set up his social media accounts for his business, then post content to the platforms to help generate leads. Now, doing these tasks is not difficult, or at least it isn't for me. I've been doing graphic design, managing Facebook pages, and learning how to write content for other businesses for years now. The issue is in a rural community, most clients can't justify the cost of delegation when they can do it themselves, but maybe not as good. For business owners, this is always a tough decision, and it can be difficult to measure the ROI, the return on investment. Stevie is proposing that in order to get my services, he will give me a commission for leads that my talents generate.
So I'm like, man, if Sean stayed where he's at, and if he needs more money, he'd be more interested in marketing and then getting a percentage for every job.
Okay, so first off, yeah, I mean I'm down.
Glad we're on the record.
But we gotta alright, so now we need a company name.
Yeah, a new one. I'm thinking
one
all
altogether.
new together.
Okay.
And I can get the pictures. I can get before and after pictures so we can post those.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm thinking something, dude.
Stevie continues to pitch me his business idea and how he's getting the startup cash to get it going, where his first jobs are to pay for his short-term loans back. Stevie's a hustler. When it comes to concepts, drive, and knowledge of how to do what he sets out to do, there's no one I trust more. But like me, when it comes to running a business or even working for one, he's got a record of dipping out when he sees the grass is greener on the other side. This would be Stevie's second run at a power washing business. Now he's done it though, he's learned and he knows how to be more efficient. For me personally, I'm all in. As a friend, I owe it to him to provide my whatever support and resources I can afford to help him succeed. Could he succeed without me? I imagine so. He's got enough work ethic in his left pinky to compensate for all the talent I have in my whole body. Would it take longer without me? Sure, but we're a team.
Since you're not on the field sales, we can either do $25 for under 500, or we can make something if it gets a bigger job and we get more money, or we can just do 10% of every job.
Okay.
So I mean, 10% is still not.
Yeah.
We'll keep you posted on Stevie's business as more updates come through. But first, a word from our sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by Hustle Harder Life. This is actually one of my own brands, which I'll talk more about in future episodes. But in case you're interested in checking out the new clothing designs every month, you can go to hustleharderlife.com. More to come soon, including a fitness-based app that I've been working on as well.
Dance! Dance!
That's not dancing, that's...
God dang. Come on. Come on, show me the moves. There we go. There we go. Hey, Sean! Hi! Hold on, I gotta win this bet. They're leaving before me. I gotta win this. I gotta win the bet. I gotta win the bet.
Danny, what is happening?
You guys are leaving before me.
Yes, I know I lost a bet.
I love you, Sunday. I love you. I love you. I love you.
Get off my face.
The end of the week has arrived. It's midnight, the room is spinning, I'm melted to the bed, the drinks from earlier in the night have kicked in. A deep sigh of overwhelming wonder just washes over me as I try to balance my mental state. 2:30 a.m. rolls around, and despite being intoxicated, I'm still unable to pass out. So many things are just running through my head. New scenarios that haven't happened yet are wreaking havoc on my brain. My chest is experiencing a combination of tightness from anxiety along with the heartburn from drinking. I remind myself to center myself, to breathe, and let go of all the negativity. The truth is, I've been drinking more alcohol than I care to admit. Not to the point where I'm unhinged, but I'm not getting good sleep, and I'm not going to the gym as regularly, and my productivity is really lacking. I realize I need to reassess what I'm doing and what my goals are. I don't want to give up drinking, but at this point I'm also self-aware that while my drinking defaults to a social experience, it also has become a coping mechanism. My testosterone is naturally going to suffer, and I'm going to have less drive to do things like go to the gym. I need to fix this situation immediately, but I also need to trust that it's a process. I can't really expect all of my problems to go away overnight by moderating drinking for a couple evenings in a row. So I decided I needed to assess why I'm drinking excessively again. I sit down with a pen and paper and I start writing out why I'm using this as a crutch. 1, it helps me numb the feeling like I'm screwing things up, even though it also feels like drinking just makes situations worse. 2, I get validation at the bar more than I do other areas of my life. Not that it's hard, it's a bar. It's not a meaningful relationship or my career, but since those areas I feel like I'm failing in, then the bar is like the closest alternative. 3, I'm bored, which makes absolutely no sense because I'm also behind on so many other things. 4, drinking is easier than actually confronting the things that bother me head on. The next day, despite being sleep deprived, and after missing 4 days at the gym, I needed to go back. For me, the gym is the best kind of therapy. I can spend hours there just focusing on my mindfulness and breaking down my thought process. While I'm here, I come to one of many conclusions that I will inevitably have to come to terms with. That conclusion is that we don't get to pick the best thing, we have to pick our poison, and we have to pick what we're willing to suffer through to get where we want to be. That can be liberating because then we consciously are aware of what's to come and we are in control of what happens next. This can be career decisions, relationships, finances, and so on. Sometimes there isn't an easy solution. Sometimes there's just a complicated solution 1 and a complicated solution 2. Now we have to decide what hell are we willing to endure. I remember when I left my last job, I went through this thought process, but I wasn't able to articulate it very well. I asked myself, Do I want to suffer through a career I don't enjoy, or do I want to suffer through struggling financially and grinding until I can make 6 figures? Every situation we struggle with comes with a choice we have to make, but we have to frame our mind to be equipped in handling it. So with that, I'm going to end this episode. Next week, I'll give you an update on my recent job offers and interviews, my own business ventures, and what I'm doing to control my mood in a more productive way. Again, thanks for listening, and make sure you hit the follow button if you enjoyed this podcast.